Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hema Ramkissoon and welcome to the CNC3 Early Morning Show. It is a beautiful Friday morning. It is Friday the 10th of August. How are you? Let's say special good morning to Goldie Bruce. She kept you company yesterday. I had an interesting week. It's one of those exam weeks, so hopefully my lecturers wouldn't be too hard on me. But good morning. I hope you had a wonderful week. And if you had a week like mine, well, thank God it's Friday. And we thought we'd lighten things up a little bit. The Olympics are happening. And, you know, yesterday Jamaica made history, copying gold, silver, and bronze. The name Usain Bolt, well, if it wasn't etched in your minds before, has forever been etched in the minds or in the annals of history. He has deserved the title, a living legend. And also congratulations to all of our athletes who continue to represent the red, white, and black out there in London. We've done so well, no matter what the outcome, really and truly. Reaching a semi-final and a final is a huge accomplishment. And for such a small country, I think we have so much to be grateful for. We've been seen in the semi-finals and finals of a number of events, so that has shown that maybe something good is happening. But this morning we're going to have Jesse Merrick joining us on set. He's going to share with us an interview he did with Andrew Lewis. We'll also open our phone lines a little bit. Michael Anisette will be joining us on set. Union leaders are rumbling. Why are they so upset? We're supposed to have Len Bugsy Sharp, the living legend of Pan, on set with us this morning, talk about the 50 years of independence. However, he will not be able to join us this morning, so we'll just open our phone lines to find out how you're feeling this morning, your thoughts on our Olympic performances, what's happening in the country. An acting police commissioner, a new minister of national security, never a dull moment in Trinidad and Tobago. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at Hema_Ramkissoon. I look forward to tweeting with you. I think I'm finally getting onto the Twitter bandwagon, and you can also check me out on Facebook, Hema Ramkissoon, same name. But before we go to our first interview, which will be with the president of the SWWTU, Mr. Michael Anisette, a former independent senator, let's tell you why you should buy the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian today. Jamaica sweeps 200 meters. I think history was made yesterday. Jamaica's Usain Bolt is flanked by his compatriots Warren and also Johan Blake after their medal sweep in the 200-meter final. And Jamaica is celebrating 50 years of independence. And what a gift to their nation. Jamaica. Bolt first to retain the Olympic sprint crowns and TT in relay and javelin finals today. So good luck to all of our boys. I'm expecting a medal in at least those two events. Living legend Bolt repeats the double London yesterday. Usain Bolt backed up his billing as a living legend by winning the Olympic 200 meters and becoming the first athlete to repeat a double Olympic sprint champion. It is what I came here to do. I'm now a legend. Well, never a dull moment. A little humility there, but you know, he's one of those gifted athletes, and I think he has proven his worth. And he's also a showman. There we're seeing the picture on the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. TNT sizzles in London heats. There's a picture there of Usain Bolt, and you know, there's never a dull moment. Most people actually think when he's coming up to the final, as in the finishing line, he actually slows down. One has to wonder if there's one day when he will show us really what he can do. The applause goes to Dion Lendo, the Trinidad and Tobago men's 4x400 team. He broke the national record, winning the first heats in 3.0038 yesterday. And plain talk, Lalon Gordon. Just keep believing in us and we will do a good job. Well, Lalon, you are still one of the only persons to have copped a medal in the Olympics. And, you know, we are believing in our sportsmen and women. They continue to do us so proud, and we have so much to be grateful for in this country. Before we begin our first interview this morning, which will be with Michael Anisette, let's give you something to think about while you have your morning cup of coffee. Every great journey begins with a single step. It's a simple phrase this morning. Every great journey begins with a single step. You have to sometimes make sure that that step is in the right direction, no matter what your task, your journey, or whatever burden you're bearing today. Don't forget that You have the power to move and to change and to shape your life, making it into whatever you want to be. No one has power or control over the circumstances in your life. I'm Hema Ramkisoon, and I'll see you after this.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Get a feeling that I never had before. Don't know, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes.
Surf, stream, share faster than ever before on Digicel's super fast 4G network. It's summer in 4G. Get your smartphone with a smart plan on the smartest network in TNT. Sign up for our newest postpaid smart plans now. Plus, for a limited time, get 1 month subscription free and 4G smartphones for $199. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
Don't miss these super discounts at Motor Live's Rainy Day Sale, now on.
This Independence Day is special. So at Subway for the whole month of August, the treat's on us. That's right. When you buy any footlong Subway sandwich during August, we will give you a treat free. Choose from any of our decadent offerings. Cookies, muffins, brownies, even Soldanza chips. So stop by any of our 42 Subway stores for your next footlong and let us treat you. Happy Independence Day. Subway. Eat fresh.
Japan Motors of Monroe Road, Charleville for quality imported roll-on roll-off cars. Subaru Impreza, Honda CR-V, Mazda 3, the new Hilux Vigo, Nissan Navara and Ford Wildtrak. 3 years warranty and accessories. Call 672-3000 or 672-6266.
Completed dreams bring a lifetime of happiness. Lifetime Solutions can make it all real. With windows, doors, and roofing styles, you can choose your design. Just tell us your budget and we'll find the right fit. We are innovation ahead of the game. So affordable, Lifetime Solutions. You can trust your roof to us. Lifetime Solutions. Lifetime Solutions. You can trust your roof to us.
Justin never had a lot of toys. His bike was basically all he had. He rode that bike and rode that bike and rode that bike. Now look at him, speeding all over the world, representing his country. I'm proud of my son, making local history, even making world history. What are you proud about? Tell us on Twitter by tweeting to #I4TNT.
Where there's love for country, there's energy. Where there's energy, there's BPTT.
Sensitivity is a sensation that is perceived by the patient inside of the tooth, and is normally characterized by a short, quick pain if there is a hot or cold stimulus. I recommend Sensodyne to my patients with sensitivity. Sensodyne travels inside of the tooth and calms or soothes the nerves. Sensodyne needs to be used regularly on a daily basis to prevent the pain from coming back.
Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at Hema_Ramkisoon. I look forward to tweeting with you. Well, our guest is running a little late this morning, so we thought we'd open our phone lines just a little bit to kind of get your thoughts and your views on all that's happening in our country. Our phone lines are open at this time, so we're going to have an open forum since Mr. Annie said is running a little late. We can look at anything that's happening in the country, really. You know, this week we kind of thought we'd shift things around a little bit. But what we're going to do is take a very, very short break because Mr. Danny said it's just arrived. So we'll be back after this, and I'll see you in a few seconds.
Introducing a new concept in shopping in Trinidad. AmazingBuysTT.com. Choose from thousands of products. Check out our specials. Free online gift registry. Shop from the comfort of your home. AmazingBuysTT.com. Call us at 652-4438.
If your guests are pests, then call General Pest Control. We offer effective treatment using the latest technology against termites, rats, roaches, mosquitoes, ants, mice, pigeons, and lots more. Total eradication, guaranteed jobs, no callbacks. Get a 10% discount as an introductory offer with free estimates and inspections. Centrally located in Caroni, or call 645-4871. General Pest Control. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Whether it's for the best tasting breads, cakes and pastries or doubles, pizza and paratha roti, you need to start with premium flour. Nutrimix and Country Pride flour are nothing less than premium products manufactured to the highest standards. Available in 2 and 10 kilogram sizes from supermarkets nationwide, our range of flour was developed for its superior taste and nutritional value. We have the right flour for your family's every need. Nutrimix and Country Pride flour. Superior quality, honest prices.
Sir Trevor MacDonald was born in San Fernando on August 16, 1939. His father was an oil refinery worker. He graduated from Naparima College and began his career in local radio, television and print. In 1960, he joined the Caribbean arm of the BBC World Service as a producer before moving to London at the end of that decade to work for BBC Radio London. In 1973, he went to work for the Independent Television News, first as a general reporter, later as a sports correspondent, but ultimately concentrating on international politics. In 1992, he was made the sole presenter of the News at 10. 7 years later, he would begin a 10-year run as the host of ITV's flagship current affairs program, Tonight with Trevor MacDonald. He was the first black newsreader in the UK and was knighted in 1999 for his services to journalism. Other awards include honorary degrees from the University of Plymouth and Liverpool University, and a 2011 British Academy of Film and Television Arts Fellowship. He has won more awards than any other British newscaster.
The 50 most influential personalities since independence. We want your view via text on Facebook and online at 50tt.guardian.co.tt.
If really want back, you can depend on friendly service every day. If really want standing out, treating you like you deserve to be. Yeah, Republic is only the best to you. We get personal attention, so explain for your inspection.
You're talking to your best friend when
you're going to clean their family.
You get cash back.
Yeah, darling.
You're talking to your best friend when you realize you're always a winner. You're talking to your best friend when you get a makeover. You suddenly feel like dancing. Every dog gets its day. You have your cake and eat it too. Nightfall. You're talking to your best friend. Whatever else happens, always get extraordinary value with Digicel. Get $1 cash back for every paid minute on local Digi-to-Digi calls made during the day, so you can talk more at night. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
Omerdeen School of Accountancy Limited is now enrolling students for September semester. We provide quality tuition for the ACCA Professional Program and the Foundation in Accountancy Program. Call us today.
Soria. Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. Labor relations in the country. A number of labor leaders have started to make sure that their voices are heard in the public domain. And while that's not unusual, let's tie it into context. The budget is actually being delivered in a couple of weeks. Actually, some are saying early September. Let's find out exactly what's happening, and then we'll get the president of NATUC, one of the leading union figures in this country, to respond to all that's happening. What's happening with the camaraderie in the labor movement? Let's take that package in, then we'll start our discussion.
NUGFW leadership will not be misled. We are here to lead and not to be misled.
Another union, the NUGFW, has decided to sever ties with the joint trade union movement. This is a third trade union to do so and follows in the footsteps of the Public Services Association and the Prison Officers Association. Now, the National Union of Government and Federated Workers, led by President General James Lambert, says the reason for leaving the movement is straightforward. The movement no longer stands for what its union represents.
During the period when some of them had accepted the 9%, no longer daily rated in particular was an issue. And I felt that we have no reason for going back there to discuss anything pertaining to that. We have already concluded too.
He says the movement has become too political and is even making statements which are inaccurate. A prime example is the notion that NATUC President Michael Anisette agreed to privatization and divestment in the government sector. Lambert, who is also the vice president of NATUC, says it's a false statement.
All that he has said, that if that is the intention of government, the unions should be given the opportunity to meet and discuss. He never said that he agreed.
CNC3 News made several calls to head of the Joint Trade Union Movement, Ansel Roger, but all calls went unanswered. For CNC3, I am Otto Carrington.
The Joint Trade Union Movement. Michael Anisette made some statements. Some are supporting, some are not. Mr. Anisette, good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you and good morning to the listening public.
You are the president of NATUC, still the recognized labor body in this country.
Yeah.
What is the Joint Trade Union Movement and how is it related to NATUC? How is it related to the national landscape of this country?
All right, let us put that in context. One would have recalled that the question of the 5% cap that was imposed on the trade union movement galvanized the trade unions to rally together in an effort to stand in unity against the 5% offer. Okay, and coming out of that, we formed what you call a joint trade union body, where all the unions who were affected by the 5% offer by the government came together to strategize, to discuss, and to dialogue in terms of a way forward. Because we recognize that if we dealt with that matter on an individual basis, the government would have had their way. So that we came together on a specific issue, which was the imposition of the 5% wage cap by the government.
The 5%, wait, okay, let's put this into context. That was basically a mechanism you all came together to go against the government, saying that you will not stand for that.
Yes.
Does the 5% still exist?
Yes, it still exists as I speak to you. There are several unions, including NUGFW, my union, the Institute of Marine Affairs, the Contractors General Workers Union in San Fernando, the Amalgamated Workers Union, who are now before the court on the question of the 5%. And what is ironic is that the chief personnel officer is expressing the view before the court that there is no directive from the Minister of Finance to move from the 5% wage cap, which was the issue that forced the breakdown of negotiations and caused us to go to the industrial court. And I have made a public call, and I'm making it again, to the government and the finance minister for us to move away from the 5%, make sure that the negotiations, all outstanding negotiations are settled so that we can have what I want to call productive discussions in respect of our economy.
The SWWTU and NATUC and all the other labor heads, are you still affiliated with the Joint Trade Union Movement?
As I said, the Joint Trade Union Movement came about on the basis of the 5% issue. The 5% issue is still on the table. And then therefore, I think there is a need, and I express that view that we need to stick together until that issue is resolved. If we need to discuss how we continue thereafter, that is another conversation that we will have.
No.
But unless and until the 5% wage issue is settled in the favor of the workers, then we need to stay together.
Okay, you need to stay together, but then some of the major figures in the labor movement are saying that the joint trade union movement is a political entity and they will have none of it.
Well, that is a view that have been expressed by some of my colleagues, some of my members. They are of the view that some leaders are using the joint trade union as a platform to articulate their political views. But what I'm saying that one has to be very careful that we do not do anything that will stymie or dilute our focus of ensuring that the daily rated workers, the IMA workers, and all the other unions who are still facing the 5% ban around their neck by disintegrating for whatever reason. We would have been misleading workers. We would have been telling workers, hey, do not have any faith in us, because we came together on a particular issue. And before that issue has been completed, we are in noise with each other.
Well, you're considered to be one of the stalwarts in the labor movement. And we see that Mr. Lambert has now distanced himself from this cause. The PSA has distanced themselves from this cause. Will you now be calling them back and saying, comrades, let's all sit together because we have to stand against the government on this?
My role will continue to be, as the president of NATWOC, to try and get a balanced view and to try and be a conciliator on all disputes. And that has been my role. That is the role I have played, and I will continue to play that. And while within the very same trade union movement, we may have difference of opinion, and that is good for democracy. The question to me is when we go public and wash our dirty linens, then we begin to form a pathway where workers are going to lose trust in the leadership of the organization.
You must admit it's a little passing strange that Mr. Lambert is a senator, and he has decided to distance himself. And also the PSA president has been some interesting statements made against them. Both have been accused of being pro-partnership government, and they're the both entities that have distanced themselves from this cause. Do you think politics is at play here, national politics, people's partnership politics?
Well, one cannot get away from the fact, and let us be brutally frank, there is politics that is involved in it. Because we have a party that has been formed basically by some trade union leaders, right? Some of them were within the People's Partnership. And the whole question of the role of the trade union movement and workers within the political dynamics of a country is now being played out. And one has to expect those kinds of contradiction and those kinds of issues, because that is the nature of politics.
So you're thinking that they have distanced themselves as a result of the MSG's involvement in the joint trade union movement?
No, well, I cannot make that assessment. That is for the comrades who would have distanced themselves to make that decision. But what I'm saying is that I know for a fact that within the national trade union movement and within other organizations, the question of whether or not the joint trade union leadership is being politicized is an issue that is on the front burner and that is being discussed by several trade unions and workers by extension.
Mr. Tanner said, do you think the leadership of the joint trade union movement is being politicized? Is there political agenda and anti-people's partnership agenda?
Well, I am involved in the joint trade union leadership.
Let's look at the leadership.
And what I will say, my approach will continue to be to represent the interests of workers. And any government that is in power, that will do anything that will go against the trade union, the workers, the disadvantaged, the pensioners, the poor, I will raise my voice. That will be my approach, and it will continue to be my approach.
Are you fearful that more unions will distance themselves from this?
From
the joint trade union movement?
No, you see, as I said, we continue to build foundations. We continue to have what I'll call different ideas of how we should move forward as an organization, all right? And then coming out of that, you're going to have these kinds of disaffection. But what I'm saying that we need to be able to sit down as leaders who represent workers and respect other people's views, all right? Because it cannot be, and that is one of the major problems. There is a view that my view must be the supreme view, and if I do not support your view, well then therefore you are not part of this. That cannot be the approach in a democratic society. There must be basis to allow for the free flow of ideas and exchange of ideas and communication. It is only by that mechanism can we really build the kind of solidarity that we talk about.
So are you saying that all of this is simply as a result of personality clashes and egos?
Yes, I want to believe that it is egotistical. All right, some people may want to say it is about ideology, but I believe it is about egos as opposed to ideologies, because at the end of the day, I will continue to maintain that the role of any leader has to be what is in the best interest of workers and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Some people have different views in terms of how we're supposed to get there, but ultimately, the role has to be what is in the best interest of workers and Trinidad and Tobago.
Is the labor movement, or is it still relevant? And we're looking at the fact that some of the major unions are now distancing themselves from this cause. How are you going to keep yourself relevant on the national landscape?
No, well then, relevancy is subjective, in my view. And there will always be a need for a trade union movement, given the system in which we operate. The system of capitalism generates the question of the trade union movement. And as long as they are disaffected workers, as long as they are disenchanted citizens, as long as people don't agree with what is happening, they're going to have groups who represent the interests of the particular groups of people. So that the need for the trade union movement will always be there. But more importantly, because of what is happening internationally and financially in the financial markets, and because of the whole question of privatization and outsourcing and all those other things, the need for the trade union movement is more fundamental, because there is an effort to erode the rights and the gains that the workers and the trade union would have negotiated over an extended period of time.
But some will argue whether, in terms of relevance, that the negotiation tactics are still relevant, the demands are still relevant, all the left-wing ideologies that dominated the labor movement at one time, is it still relevant in today's environment?
And then I can argue that the neoliberal policies, the conservatism, right, because of that, right, is it relevant? And then therefore, the question of relevancy, as I said, is a subjective. As long as you are alive, you are living, life is a dynamic situation, it is not static. So the question of the trade union movement will always be there, because life is evolving and life is dynamic.
We do have to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion. I'm Hema Rabkisoon. I'll see you after this.
Can't concentrate. Can you pause it? I need to go to the bathroom.
No worries, go.
Let's see what he has recorded here. Street Dogs, 101 Dalmatians, Scooby-Doo.
Sex and the City.
Done. Man, you got a nice letterbox.
What letterbox?
My letterbox?
With DirecTV Plus, it's possible to record all your favorite shows and movies for just $239 a month. You can replay, pause, and rewind all your favorite shows, plus record more than 100 hours of television. Call us now at 672-8111. With DirecTV, everything is possible.
To be equal, to live in a society that responds to you without prejudice, to be treated fairly no matter what your background may be. Regardless of race or religion, regardless of geographic location, gender, or any disability you may have. It's not just an idea we should live by, but an ideal that our children can look up to, that our communities can aspire to, that our employers must embrace. But it's more than that. It is the right of every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. It is a right that is championed and upheld by the Equal Opportunity Commission. The EOC is about educating, breaking down barriers, and eliminating obstacles to truly empower people on the basis of their merit. This is the mission of the Equal Opportunity Commission of Trinidad and Tobago. Equality is everyone's dream. It's everyone's right.
Visit the Redemption Worship Center, a place where miracles do happen and people are blessed at St. Thomas Village, Chaguanas, with Pastors Keith and Radhika Ramdas. Sunday, 8 a.m., Christian education. 9 a.m., worship service. Wednesday, 10 a.m., prayer. Thursday, 7 p.m., Bible study. And Friday, 6:30 p.m., Youth Church Explosion. Special congratulations to Trinidad and Tobago on the 50th anniversary of independence. For more information, call 672-4262. Having a problem with pests and don't know what to do? Less Pest Technology is on the job. We specialize in the termination of rodents, termites, etc. Call 637-9734 or 689-9734. Less Pest Technology, where customer satisfaction is our goal.
Insurance is a promise to pay. At Beacon, we keep our promises.
Shell Helix makes you feel like you're driving the best car on the road.
Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hema Ramsden. Thank you so much for staying with us. Labor relations in this country. Yesterday, Vincent Cabrera sat in our set. Divestment, diversification, privatization. All fad words, but what does it mean to the country? Where does the labor movement stand? Well, some of the union leaders are being accused of selling the wealth of the country away to foreign entities or simply away from the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's find out what Mr. Cabrera had to say. Then Mr. Anisette will respond.
If you are publishing, you must identify what your source documents are, and no one is able to see. So that I think the GISL has opened up itself to accusations of manipulation of the figures. In fact, statistics can be used to paint a wrong story. There's a whole problem with contract labor, and it's more of a problem in the government sector than in the private sector. Many workers, as we sit here today speaking, on month-to-month contracts, 6 months contracts, and when the contracts are not renewed, they're working, they're insecure, they don't know they'll get another contract.
The information is usually sent by CSO to the media. That's how they do it. The inflation numbers and the unemployment numbers are usually sent to the media for distribution. And in order to distribute it to the media, they usually send it to GISL. There's no mystery to this.
That was a clip there about the unemployment figures which were released earlier this week, and the Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development responding to that. Mr. Anisette, before we go into the budget and privatization, the unemployment rate in this country.
Yeah, well, I agree with the take that the figure from the CSO is not reflective of the reality at ground zero.
Is the CSO even relevant? Is it even applicable? Looking at an entity that's, we are trying to be a knowledge-based society. Yeah. Data is supposed to inform all of our decisions. Yeah. If you have a census that is 10 years old, how can you make proper policy?
Well, then I agree and I support this. So that the question of upgrading our skill set, the question of modernizing, the question of using the modern tools so that we can get the information on a timely and readily basis so that the decision will be informed on proper and concrete data, I think is a necessary ingredient as we move forward. And we need to have the conversation relative to that, because if we make a decision on information that is flawed, obviously the decision too will be flawed.
Privatization, divestment, diversification, all fat words. And with the budget coming around, we're expecting all the izations to be around, basically. But divestment is one of the tools that was announced by the People's Partnership Government, I think last year in the budget. First Citizens, a number of other entities, and they're looking towards the state sector. Let's not be unrealistic here. The bottom line is that a lot of these entities are a drain on the resources of the state. They are inefficient, they're top-heavy, and maybe a lot of it has to do with management and board accountability. But the bottom line is that sometimes you need a cash injection which cannot be gotten from the coffers of Trinidad and Tobago. You need to list on the stock exchange, but yet union leaders are saying that you are selling the wealth of the country.
Well, all right, let me put my take on it because I have been accused
of selling out?
Of selling out because of my proposals to the government as it relates to that particular issue. I continue to argue, notwithstanding what my comrade will say, that workers must have a share in the commanding heights of the economy. And one of the mechanisms that has proven to be successful is by employee stock ownership. And I'm therefore saying that if the government takes a decision to sell some of the shares in First Citizen Bank, and let me make the point that First Citizen Bank is profitable, so it's not only unprofitable entities.
True.
All right, so then we have to ask the question, why First Citizen Bank? But the point I'm making is that that decision was taken last year. It was pronounced in the last year budget. There was a representative, right, who was part of that government. And that representative said nothing about that particular aspect of the government moving forward. Having said that, what I have said, listen, you cannot go and sell off your shares and then make the shares available only to a few group of people, thereby disempowering workers, and we continue to have what I will want to call the disjointed, issue of empowering workers by way of owning the commanding height. Having said that, allow me to say my position is that the unions need to sit down with the government and discuss a mechanism in terms of how workers will be able to own shares in these companies without having to compete with the private sector personnel who has money.
All right, yes, so that would have been my other question. So we're looking at the regulatory framework. And ideally in the utopian society, the workers will... In the utopian society, we can say that the workers are given the opportunity and they will have the opportunity to purchase the first set of shares. But the reality is maybe the workers will not have the money. And are we risking putting the wealth of the country back in the elite few that have always benefited from the social structures in our country?
Again, you see, when I make a statement, it is informed by customs, by practice, and what we would have done in the SNWWTU. We were able to demonstrate successfully with National Flour Mill and Plideco a mechanism whereby workers were given the opportunities to own and buy shares in National Flour Mill and also Plideco. The union also participated in the purchasing of those shares. So when I make my statement...
were those shares sold at market value or were they given below market value?
No, we negotiated a nice deal for our workers. Because one has to understand, as you rightly say, there are people who have monies who can buy it, and workers do not have the financial wherewithal. So you must negotiate within that context to face the reality. Because if you want me to own shares, I cannot get, let us assume that the shares is $78, like a bank is per share. Can a worker buy that share? No. So you need to negotiate a mechanism where he can buy it over an extended period of time. It was by salary deductions and several mechanisms that we negotiated, which I do not want to put on the table. But more importantly, I attended an industrial court matter involving the Communication Workers Union, where they made up proposals as communication workers to have stock ownership in TSTT. Everybody seems to forget those things. The communication workers made that proposal. They went to court. They brought down an expert from America to put their case in the court. They did a position paper. I have that paper. And they were arguing that employees must own shares or stocks in TSTT too. So then what is the difference if I make a proposal along those lines? And you see, those are some of the contradictions that I have some problems with. Rather than us sit down and discuss in the marketplace of ideas and come up with an approach, we go to the public and we wash our dirty linens. Our proposal is nothing different to what has been practiced in past entities. I work with documents to demonstrate.
Your proposals are concerning which entities?
We made a general proposal.
For divestment of which ones?
No, we made a general proposal that if the government, right, is mindful of divesting, they must do it in the context of giving labor an opportunity to be part of the economy. That is what we said.
Are you confident that the regulatory framework is in place to avoid one entity simply coming in and purchasing the majority of shares on any entity? Are you confident that we have the regulatory framework in place?
As I passed you that document.
I saw it.
Right? And that document has invited the SWWTU today at 2 p.m. to discuss government decision to put on the stock exchange National Flour Mill shares and also Plideco shares, so that we will be meeting with our executive, and rest assured we'll be making the arguments to ensure that the regulatory framework is put in place, that we will have the kind of distribution and the mechanism where workers and credit unions and these other entities, right, will be able to have an opportunity, a genuine opportunity to own shares if they so desire.
This all sounds real. I think it's a great idea. I encourage it. I believe that the wealth of these entities should be owned by the people of Trinidad and Tobago, but yet a number of your colleagues, your comrades, are saying that all is not above board. They are worried about the people and the wealth of our country.
No, well, everyone is entitled to their views. But the point that I'm making, that the only way you safeguard that is by engaging the government in dialogue and to ensure that whatever is put in place, that it protects the interests of the disadvantaged so that the disadvantaged can really share in the commanding height of the economy. And the only way you do that is by owning shares in those entities. You cannot do it by collective bargaining, right? You do not own wealth by collective bargaining. And we have to understand that the world has changed. The question of employee stock ownership has been practiced all over the world.
It has,
and it has been successful. And there are case studies. I work with several case studies.
Yes, but these are countries which are developed and where the institutions and the people who run these institutions can be trusted and held to the highest laws in the land.
You see again, that is where the role of the trade union movement comes in as a watchdog for the people and the dispossessed in this society. We have a role. We have a critical stake in this economy, and therefore our responsibility is to ensure that what you are saying does not happen, because somebody has to be the watchdog, and the watchdog is the trade union movement.
So you will be supporting all these initiatives in the 2012-2013 package?
Not all the initiatives. The initiative will be supported in the context of whether or not there's equity, whether or not there's fairness, whether or not the workers, the credit unions, the poor, the dispossessed, the disadvantaged in the society will benefit in a tangible and meaningful way.
But we're going to take a very short break. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk a little bit about the budget and the proposals which are being submitted by the union. Stay with us.
Our vision, making it happen, we're making a difference, here and now, across the land, Trinidad and Tobago, open your eyes, realize there's so much waiting for you.
Republic Bank Limited, in collaboration with TNT Blind Welfare Association, present Vision Caravan from May to September 2012 throughout rural Trinidad and Tobago. Come, have your eyes tested and experience a new vision. See press for details.
Open your eyes, become aware, make use of what's here for you. Be part of the vision now.
In celebration of Republic Bank's 175th anniversary, Vision Caravan.
You want a beautiful body, skin and hair. The top brands are always near. Pennywise. Come and discover why everybody loves Pennywise. Medical, nutritional, even dental. Our health range is really special. Everybody and baby too. We've got the best prices
ready for back to school at Payless, where you're sure to find unbelievable savings. And we measure your kids' feet for the right fit. So come on in for back to school shoes starting at $80. More styles, more savings, only at Payless.
Do not risk your life using ladders and homemade scaffolds. Rent your scaffolds and be safe. Visit DMA Transport and Scaffolding Services Limited. We specialize in tube and clamp, H-frame, cup lock, and acro props. We have an excellent reputation for our high-quality product, competitive prices, fast delivery times, reliable service, constant adherence to on-site safety, certified scaffolders. We also specialize in general construction and maintenance services. So visit or call DMA Transport and Scaffolding Services Limited, number 91st Street, Barataria. Telephone 674-6178.
Japan Motors of Monroe Road, Charleville for quality imported roll-on roll-off cars. Subaru Impreza, Honda CR-V, Mazda 3, the new Hilux Vigo, Nissan Navara and Ford Wildtrak. 3 years warranty and accessories. Call 672-3000 or 672-6266.
This is Let's Talk Tobago. Be viewing Let's Talk Tobago every Sunday at 6:25 p.m. on CNC3. Let's Talk Tobago, keeping you abreast of Tobago's development. Join us every Sunday at 6:25 p.m. as we talk Tobago, and let's build the nation of Trinidad and Tobago together.
Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hamer Ramsden. Thanks again for staying with us this morning. Thank you for inviting us into your homes. Don't forget, in the 7 o'clock hour, we'll be speaking to officials from the Ministry of Health. They're having a fit day on Sunday. How fit are you? Will you be participating in their 5K and maybe some techniques on how you can eat a healthy diet? But we're continuing to look at the budget that's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. It's supposed to be delivered within the next month. Labour is one of the most interesting elements of our society. And I use the word interesting in the best possible way. Ms. Danny said, what would you like to see in the budget?
Well, we have submitted a 14-page document to the Minister of Finance.
And this represents what? Specifically the SWTU and NATOC?
National NATOC's position paper on the budget.
And this is basically a reflection of all of the views of the entire movement?
No. Simply because the representatives were requested, included Bank and General, by letter dated the 1st of June to submit proposals to the head office of NATOC by the 12th of June for submission to the Ministry of Finance by the 25th of June. When I returned to Trinidad and Tobago, that was not done. So therefore what I did was to compile proposal based on past budget proposals and also interject some of the thoughts that I would have gotten in dialogue with the union leaders and some of the workers. All right, so that NATOC did not meet to discuss it simply because NATOC affiliate failed to respond to the NATOC invitation to submit proposals by the 12th of June. No union submitted a proposal, so that any union who tells the public they were not consulted is misrepresenting the facts. Having said that, some of the issues that we dealt with, and this is an issue that I have been raising for the last 3 budgets, the maritime sector. Because what we said that NATOC has raised this obvious opportunity that exists for development of a thriving maritime sector, service sector, in the economy in which Trinidad and Tobago has a significant competitive and comparative advantage. And we said that on the basis of the strategic location on major shipping lanes with very high traffic, a skilled and trained labor force, competitive price of labor, and committed partnership in the labor movement. And we asked the government to take a look at the maritime sector. We also went on to talk about shipbuilding, and we are saying that the government do not need to reinvent the wheel, because NATOC is of the view, and let me read it, that we already have the ideal vehicle in CARIDOC, which is Caribbean Dock Limited to fast forward the shipbuilding and repair industry with the widening of the Panama Canal and the increase in shipping in the region. A revitalized operation and carried up can increase the employment levels in the maritime sector to approximately 3,000 workers. We believe that the involvement of the trade union movement, the private sector and the government will be the ideal model for this project. And we went on to talk about the construction to generate construction. We talked about raising the income levels to 20,000 so that workers will be able to benefit from the low-cost mortgage. We talk about skill planning and skill development and several areas, right, that we mention to government, which we believe the question of generating employment in the economy is the road that the government has to go, and the question of having what we want to call a job pack, where jobs are seen as part of the economic development. And we were arguing you cannot have economic development and send home workers where there is no job growth. So our paper spoke to that philosophy, and we suggested areas and means whereby the trade union movement, who are mindful to be involved in business, where some of my colleagues have a problem with, right, should be given the opportunity to be involved in business and to develop entrepreneurial skills.
Ms. Einstein, we are out of time for this interview. Thank you so much for joining us, clarifying all that's happening in the Labour front. A number of Labour leaders are up in arms. They're saying that the union is not representing them. Ms. Danny said it's saying is not so. Things are changing, and they must continue to represent the workers of the country in light of all that's happening. No matter what, they remain pro-worker. No matter who is in power, they will stand up against injustices. I'm Hema Ramsey. We now go straight to the 7 a.m. newscast. Rio Ramboli is actually with us this morning. Good morning, Rio. And I will see you after this with officials from the Ministry of Health.
To be equal, to live in a society that responds to you without prejudice, to be treated fairly no matter what your background may be, regardless of race or religion, regardless of geographic location, gender, or any disability you may have. It's not just an idea we should live by, but an ideal that our children can look up to, that our communities can aspire to, that our employers must embrace. But it's more than that. It is the right of every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. It is a right that is championed and upheld by the Equal Opportunity Commission. The EOC is about educating, breaking down barriers, and eliminating obstacles to truly empower people on the basis of their merit. This is the mission of the Equal Opportunity Commission of Trinidad and Tobago. Equality is everyone's dream. It's everyone's right.
Going shopping in the USA? Worried about not being able to fit everything in your suitcase? Worry no more. Buy all you want and ship it home with Aeropost. Sign up today and ship your purchases with Aeropost. We'll deliver it to you easily, safely, and hassle-free. Sign up today for your own Aeropost Miami address. Visit us at Arapita Avenue, Fernandez Compound, Gogo Lands, Point Lisas, and Tobago, or online at www.aeropost.com/POS. Aeropost, online shopping made easy.
SRI Construction Limited presents Active Yard Solutions for busy backyards with no maintenance, quick installation, lifetime warranty, railings of beauty and sophistication, affordability, privacy, strength and security. Beauty from all angles. We are the proud suppliers of Active Yard and wire wall, high security fencing. Located at 22 Cotton Hill, St. Clair. Give us a call at 622-2155 or check us online, srigrouptt.com. SRI means quality and security.
Featuring the biggest comedy stars, Larry Joseph,
Nuts Landing,
Wendell Etienne,
Cyclops the Star, Dolores, Cannon Superstar,
Daryl the Saint Mendoza, the new Jack Warner,
George Gonzalez,
Health as Penis Carr, and the talk of the town, Ian Allen lookalike.
Hello! I must start by congratulating my new friend, Jack Warner. I love you.
Red, White, and Black, the concert.
This Sunday, August 12th.
New Image Simplex, New Grant, 5:30 p.m.
Saturday, August 18th, Sangre Grande Regional Sporting Complex. Sunday, August 26th, Center Point Mall, Chaguanas, and the grand finale. Saturday, September 1st, Center of Excellence. Advanced general tickets only $50. Available at regular outlets in your area. VIP also available.
For more info, call 622-0834. Red, White, and Black, the concert.
This Sunday, August 12th.
New Image Simplex, New Grant.
Good morning, I'm Ria Rambley with the headline news on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. Just weeks after a controversial video aired featuring TNT's ambassador to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, Therese Baptiste Cornelis, Cabinet announces that she has been summoned home for a meeting with Foreign Affairs Minister Winston Dukran, saying that her tour of duty is about to end. But whether or not she will return as the ambassador is yet to be confirmed.
Ambassador Cornelis will be returning to Trinidad and Tobago on the 3rd of September for discussions with the line minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and at that time you'll get further details.
The Police Service Commission has announced that Assistant Commissioners of Police Raymond Craig and Simon Alexis have been appointed to act as Deputy Commissioners of Police, and according to the PSC, the acting appointments will last for a period of 6 months. The Commission says the appointments were made following vacancies left in the police service because of the resignations of Dwayne Gibbs and Jack Iwatsky as Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner, respectively. The NUGFW has cut off all links and ties to the joint trade union movement. The movement saw the coming together of almost 19 trade unions, but now the NUGFW says the movement has become sidetracked by other issues while workers continue to struggle.
NUGFW leadership will not be misled. We are here to lead and not to be misled.
In response, President of the Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union, Vincent Cabrera, described the move as unfortunate, but said he's not surprised. 200 fishermen from South Trinidad say their livelihoods are on the line because of new iron ore transportation off the coast of Liberia. The San Fernando Fishing Cooperative says the decision to approve the business was a bad one and believes it will soon affect fish prices.
If every company come here and do that and interrupt every fisherman for 1 hour of fishing for the day itself, gradually fish price is going to rise.
And in sports, history-making sailor Andrew Lewis returned home yesterday after his sporting exploits at the London Olympic Games. Lewis competed in the laser division and failed to get in the qualifying round to challenge for a place on the prize podium. Stay with us. We'll have another news update at the top of the hour, and our major newscast is at 7 this evening right here on CNC3.
Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hamer Ramsden. Thanks so much for staying with us. Now it's Friday morning. You know, we kind of shift things up a little bit. So we're taking out the politics, the unions, the business people, and talking a little bit about you, your habits. You know, are you living a healthy life? National Wellness Day, Fight the Fat. And if you're like me and Carnival is coming up around the corner, we all know that the gym and the eating right and everything is going to start. I promise from tomorrow. Joining us on set this morning, Dr. Victor Combs, and also a representative from the Ministry of Health, Yvonne Lewis. Yvonne is a Director of Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Yvonne.
Now, a big event is happening on Sunday. Yvonne, maybe we can talk a little bit about what's happening. Why are we here? Why are you having this Wellness Day?
Okay, on Sunday we're having what we call the Fight the Fat National Wellness Festival. But there's a reason why we're making all this big hooray, hurrah. You know, Trinidad and Tobago is in the midst of what we term a chronic disease epidemic. And if you think that 6 out of 10 deaths every year is because of either heart disease, cancer, diabetes, or stroke, you realize the major burden and the thing causing illness in Trinidad and Tobago is chronic diseases. The National Wellness Festival is a way of really putting the spotlight on this and beginning to create the opportunities for people to see what it is we want them to do. Dr. Combs, who's here with me, is the chair of what we call the Partners Forum Health Committee. And that committee looks at taking actions on NCDs, working with private sector, public sector, civil society. It's that important so that the cabinet formulated this committee so that we could bring all of society together to find ways to really make a dent in this chronic disease epidemic.
How bad is the problem? What's happening and why is it so bad?
Yes, it is extremely bad, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but in the Caribbean and the world at large. In Latin America and the Caribbean in particular, chronic non-communicable diseases really an epidemic. And the Pan American Health Organization is leading this initiative called the Partners Forum, whereby government, public sector, and private sector stakeholders come together, particularly incorporating NGOs and civil society in the fight against chronic non-communicable diseases. In Trinidad and Tobago, for example, 1 in 4 teenagers is overweight or obese. 55% of persons, over 25 are obese in Trinidad and Tobago, which is one of the risk factors for heart disease as well as cancer. Obesity is a risk factor as well for breast cancer, among others. So the approach is to bring all of government, all of civil society together in a cooperative, collaborative effort, because the traditional medical model has not really been very effective in controlling chronic non-communicable diseases, hence the epidemic that is now taking place in Trinidad and Tobago and the world.
With all the public campaigns that have been happening, why is it not, and we're seeing the parents even continuing the bad habits, maybe lifestyle, you have 2 to 3 jobs to hold down to, you really don't have time. Most people will tell you it's easier for me to drive through the nearest fast food outlet, pick up the food and give it to my kids as opposed to staying home and cooking.
I know that has been a bit of a challenge in terms of getting the behavior change down. But I think we have to do a little bit more in a number of areas. Number one, in bringing the information to you that really will help you to make the choices. When we understand that a typical man in Trinidad and Tobago, his life expectancy at birth, this means you expect him to live this long, is 68, not 70. And it's lower than most Caribbean countries. The life expectancy at birth for women is 72. And this is partly because of the chronic disease epidemic. You can think, Hema, and you think for me in your mind, how many persons you know have diabetes, have hypertension? And once you start having these risk factors, are overweight and obese, not sufficient physical activity, you begin to affect your life chances. So I think we've got to get that information out to the public so that they can understand this is not just about how good the food tastes, etc. By the way, on Sunday we have a Trini food makeover.
Oh, I saw that. I was so excited when I saw that.
We have a Trini food makeover because there's a message we want to put out there. We can eat healthy, and we're not saying don't buy from restaurants, etc. But we're saying ask them to deliver things that don't add risk to your health. So the Trini Food Makeover, we have people who are making healthy doubles. I am waiting to taste that. We're going to chunky vegetables in with water instead of oil. I want
Is that even possible?
It is possible. Who are coming up with healthy blue food and cutters, etc. And we can do it. We need to reduce the fat, reduce the salt, reduce the sugar, but there are ways that we could still make appetizing meals. That's part of Sunday.
Dr. Combs, this is a time that we look to public policy in terms of looking at the schools. In the US, they have policies where cafeterias and canteens are not allowed to sell soft drinks and other entities, and really legislating proper, healthy habits.
Yes. Well, again, that's a very interesting point. The Partners Forum is in the process of putting forward certain proposals to address those issues. As far as, let's say, the school feeding program is concerned, there are also already recommendations being made to ensure that kids in that program are provided with nutritious meals as opposed to those that are high in sugar content, as traditionally has been the case. We're also looking at, there have been some policies that have already been introduced as far as smoking in public places and so on. So there are strategic initiatives like those where we are putting policies in place. There's also the concept of bringing certain ministries together to work together rather than as silos individually, so that the Ministry of Sport may deal with trying to get more people involved in sports. But the Ministry of Local Government would need to ensure that the facilities are present.
Right.
The Ministry of National Security will need to see that the places are secure for people to walk and jog and so on. So that unless they come together with a common focus, we won't have the sort of positive effect that we are seeking to get.
Parents' healthy lifestyles, looking at diabetes and non-communicable diseases. You're right, the life expectancy is a lot lower. In fact, we're the lowest in the Caribbean, right?
We're one of the lowest in the Caribbean.
And you have, on this Wellness Day, you have a number of educational tools or educational programs aimed to teaching people to live a healthy lifestyle, but really letting them understand, Yvonne, that this is really life and death. This is your children, your medical bills, because the cost is a lot on the state and it comes out to be a lot on the family as well.
It's your children's future. It's your children's future. I'm going to talk about Sunday, but I want to make a plug for this. We had screening for children in one particular county, which I would leave nameless for now. But we screen the children in the schools, and these are children between 7 and 12 years old. And what we found that we had a high percentage of those children obese, and of those who were obese, 33%, 1 in 3, had elevated cholesterol. What does that mean? You know, when you go by the doctor and the doctor tell you your cholesterol over 200, that's elevated. These were children between 7 and 12, and their cholesterol were over 200. That's saying something already to us. These are 7 to 12-year-olds. We have them, a significant amount of them were already trending up to being hypertensive, high blood pressure, hypertensive, having elevated blood pressures. And some of them were actually diagnosed as diabetic, type 2, not because their pancreas is not functioning properly, but because of the overweight, the unhealthy eating practice, and not sufficient physical activity. So these are drivers. We've got to act.
Now, looking at physical activities, you hear from the ECA, people in the offices, getting the employers to understand the use of a gym, or maybe even outdoor activities, family days. People stay almost every single day, 8 to 5 in a job, in a stationary position. They then go home, maybe do something, and then go back in a stationary position.
You're right.
Well, there have already been initiatives in this regard. When I was at Petrotrin, for example, there were cycles put inside of the control rooms at work. So the workers who may be working a night shift, you know, can take 10 to 15 minutes and just cycle on the cycle, you know, to maintain his level of fitness. Although he's working at night, in a control room, which is a sedentary type of job. Many of the companies, we also have a Fit for Work program in which the level of fitness in the workplace is being encouraged. People are being encouraged to walk, people are being encouraged to exercise. Employers, now the message for employers is that you will have no employees, you will have much more sick days, you would also have much less productive workers when they are sick. So it is the employers, to the employer's benefit from an economic point of view for them to ensure that the workers are fit.
And the Ministry of Health also has a workplace wellness policy that they have drafted, and we are working with several ministries and private sector companies in terms of promoting workplace wellness.
Now, before we wrap this interview, I will actually be partaking in the 5K run / walk.
Thank you.
The more / walk part of it, actually.
Very much.
But let's talk a little bit about some of the activities that they're having on Sunday.
On Sunday, this is designed really to just showcase the kinds of actions we need to take to reverse this chronic disease epidemic. And so it's built around healthy eating, active living, and screening for health. Let me start with the screening for health. When you get there, we start Sunday the 12th. It's from 12. We start at 12 and we go all the way to 6. At 12 o'clock, the Wellness Fest begins. You can get free vision screenings, free eye tests. That's what we call it in Trinidad and Tobago. Free screening for your blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, weight, height, all of that, HIV testing, all of that is there. And then we also have, alongside with it, some of that education that is necessary. We have the Childhood Obesity program from Eric Williams, Wendy Fitzwilliams Hospital. So we would be assessing the children. We'll be giving parents information on that also. And then we have all our partners, Cancer Society, Diabetes Association, and a number of other areas that they are there with us in terms of providing public education to support healthy living. So that's the screening part of it. We've got the healthy food aspect.
I am so excited that Trini Food Makeover, they can actually teach you how to cook your callaloo without the coconut milk.
I will tell you that there is one member of the media who's going to be there as a participant, and she's doing a healthy cheesecake. I want to see that, something with pumpkin and... But
that will never be me. You know, the kitchen is not really one of my favorite places in the house.
And of course, we have, so that's a Trini Food Makeover. We have about 22 companies who would be making over Trini Food. And then finally, we've got the 5K. The 5K starts at 4:30. It is free. Anybody can participate. When you come and you register on the day, you will get your number. Jerseys for the first 6,000 persons to register. So we've got lots of jerseys. Come down on Sunday, come on Sunday, and you will get your jersey, you'll get your number, you can participate free. And of course, we end with fun aerobics, Zumba, entertainment, you know, the whole 9 yards.
I'll actually be partaking in that, so hopefully I'll see you there. It's happening on Sunday the 12th at the Queen's Park, Savannah. The Ministry of Health, it's all part of their drive to ensure that you live a healthier life. I'm Hema Ramksoon, and hopefully I will see you there on Sunday. I'm going to be more part of, it's a 5K walk / run. I may be doing more walking than running.
To help them walk.
Oh, see, a little motivation there. So I'll see you after this break. Bye.
Home renos have never been easier with the professional and reliable staff at Pioneer Enterprises Limited. We pride ourselves in supplying and installing beautiful PVC, gypsum, and the suspended ceiling. Find out more about our steel doors and other ceiling accessories. We also supply and install exquisite hardwood and laminate floors. Let Pioneer Enterprises Limited fulfill your home renovations with ease. Call us today at 650-3394 or 310-1720.
Who is Cunha Caribbean Insurance? We're the company that's a cornerstone of the credit union movement, helping to provide affordable, innovative insurance products for credit union members here and throughout the region. And as a member of Cunha Mutual, we've got the resources and experience that provide a foundation of global strength. keeping credit unions and their members in safe hands. CUNA Caribbean Insurance, creating financial security.
2009, I will never forget that year. What we have accomplished as a very small nation is very inspiring. We gave the best for our team, for our country, and for our people. You know, this is one way of identifying a Trinbagonian, and cricket has definitely done that for us. What are you proud about? Tell us by tweeting on Twitter to hashtag I4TNT.
Where there's love for country, there's energy. Where there's energy, there's BPTT.
Welcome on board, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to thank you for traveling with us. For your convenience, you can find 4 exits, 2 at the front and 2 at the back. Enjoy your drive and have a nice day.
Behold the beauty, the brilliance. Be blown away by the TCL LED Full HD experience. TCL LED televisions are simply stunning and backed by a full 2-year warranty. TCL televisions are available exclusively at Courts, bringing value home.
You got to move, 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 move. We like to move, 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 move. All bodies young and old. 7 Seas put you back in the groove. Make your move right. Joint care from 7 Seas. Moving nice and easy from your hip to your knee. Move your body with joint care whenever you please. You got to move, 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 move. We like to move, 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 move.
Put the move back into your groove with 7 Seas Joint Care, the only supplement with Glucomega for healthy, supple joints. Move!
Shell Helix makes you feel like you're driving the best car on the road.
Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. Well, you know, it's interesting. We're kind of continuing on the wellness train, I guess, and persons from Venture Credit Union are now going to talk a little bit about an event that they're hosting. You have a month to prepare for this event, so it's another 5K run, and maybe I'll also try to do a little better than I'll be doing on Sunday. But they're going to have an event. So joining us on set, Desmond Baxter and Gail Supnarayan Raghu. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning.
Good morning.
Now, Gail, let's talk a little bit about the event. It's taking place within the next month, so at least we're giving people the
enough time.
Enough time.
You could practice on the 5K this Sunday, and then continue for our 5K, which would be held in Couva on the 16th of September from 7 a.m.
The 16th of September. Now, why are you having this event?
This
event is the 13th annual 5K that we are having, you know, and it's part and parcel of our contribution to our membership development. It's normally, you look after the financial and otherwise the health and all of that, and this is one that has been contributing to sports also in Central Trinidad. It's been run in collaboration with the NTAs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you have the big institutions attached to this event.
Alan Babulal is our technical director. He's not here today, but it's a well participated road race. It is on the calendar of the athletics calendar of Trinidad and Tobago. It is also the largest and the most popular road event in Trinidad at this time. Has been deemed that it's the largest.
The fact that this is actually on the calendar of racing events means that it's a big deal. So I'm a little intimidated. But looking at the participation, where would you get further information? What can you look forward to?
You could check our website at venturecreditunion.com. Any one of our branches at Couva, Arouca, and San Fernando, we have registration forms there available. Registration forms are also available at some of the clubs and gyms in the area and surroundings. And this year we want to, because it's the 50th anniversary, our theme is Imagine, Believe, Achieve. And so we're censoring the whole activity around that theme and the 50th anniversary.
Do you run?
No, I don't run anymore. I found myself getting into the organization of the event.
Do you run during?
I participated last year. It was a run and walk.
That'd probably be me on Sunday.
No, but it's one of the bigger events, and we launched the event in Couva last week, or Wednesday going.
Right.
You know, and we are hoping Rudy Indar Singh, our MP, he'll be taking part in the race. He has been doing so for some time. And what really happens at this race, we have a lot of school children too. We cater for the school children in the community, and parents and school and their children actually participate in the fun walk as it is. Lots of prizes and giveaways for children. And
we have a wellness area also. We have over 1,200 people coming out on that morning to participate.
It's a huge run. Gillian, you want me to run to embarrass myself?
No, you can come and walk and add some you know.
We have a mixture. We have a mixture of people. We have the expert runners, and we have the people who are training to run, and then we have the walkers and the families and everybody.
Yeah, well, the winner of the race last year was Richard Jones, and he'd be defending that title. We are bringing in one athlete, one marathoner from Guyana, a male. We are bringing in 2 females from Guyana too, and 1 from Suriname. You know, down the islands now, or in the Caribbean, there's so many good competitors that you need to go up against these competitors. As you would see, James of Grenada.
Also, regional persons enter this race as well.
Yes, you have participation in the race.
So it's taking place on the 16th of September. What are some of the prizes? Now, you have a wellness area. You obviously have a number of things attached, but it's a big 1,200 people. It's a huge event. What are some of the prizes? What are you competing for?
We have prizes for 1st to 5th place, and the first place prize is $3,000 for male or female. And we have different age group prices ranging from $100 to $200 for different age categories. We have a lot of hampers, and we do a distribution of hampers as well. So the walkers also get
There's still hope for me.
Yes.
Before we wrap this interview quickly, why should people come out and support this?
Well, because it affords the community, brings the community together, brings the country together. It also gives you an opportunity to bring parents and children, and these days when you want to have that parent and children association, it's a wonderful way of bringing people together. Health-wise, we have a fitness day coming up, and that's the sort of thing we want to encourage. We have health booths too. We'll be testing sugar.
So it gets
we'll be doing cholesterol. We'll be doing blood testing too. So blood pressure testing, so that it's all around event that we'll have there. We have a cultural show featuring Oscar B, who is going to be there, and Shiv Shakti dancer Devika Ramnath. She will also be performing.
You'll have a whole day planned. Gail, closing comments from Trinidad and Tobago. Where can they get further information? I will start training from Sunday to take part in this walk. So hopefully I'll be able to be one of the runners.
As I said, you can get the forms available on our website at venturecreditunion.com, as well as our Facebook page, which is Venture Credit Union, any one of our branches at Couva, Arouca, and San Fernando.
It's taking place on the 16th of September. A 5K, over 1,200 persons normally participate in this event. It's something that you should consider. Bring your family down. It's a huge event. They have a number of activities taking place. It starts at 7 a.m. promptly. I'm Hema Ramsuna. We now take a very short break. When we come back, Jassy Marik will be on set. Olympics and sport. He's going to take over. I'll see you after that.
Carly Chang is a multimedia artist who was trained in Britain and Italy. Some of his more than 10 murals still adorn buildings such as the Textile Building on Independence Square. On his return from Europe, he opened his art studio in 1955. Here he produced paintings and costumes and sets for theatre and ballet. Carly was also a mass man who designed Stephen Leung's bands between 1964 and 1975, winning 2 Band of the Year titles during that time. The 1967 band China, the Forbidden City, was the first band to be featured on a postage stamp. He was a foundation member of the Trinidad Arts Society and served as its president for 5 years during the 1980s. Carly Chang was an integral part of the nationalist movement of the 40s and 50s. His work is symbolic of aspirations of the people of the Caribbean at that time. It was fitting that he designed the coat of arms for the West Indies Federation in 1958 and the Trinidad and Tobago coat of arms in 1962. And he was a member of the committee that designed the national flag.
The 50 most influential personalities since independence. We want your view via text on Facebook and online at 50tt.guardian.co.tt.
If really want back, you can depend on friendly service every day. If really want standard of treating you like you deserve to be, yeah. Republic is only the best to you. We get personal attention, so explain for your inspection.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Get a feeling that I never had before. Don't know, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes.
Surf, stream, share faster than ever before on Digicel's super fast 4G network. It's summer in 4G. Get your smartphone with a smart plan on the smartest network in TNT. Sign up for our newest postpaid smart plans now. Plus, for a limited time, get 1 month subscription free and 4G smartphones for $199. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
Hiya guys, I am Felix, and welcome to Party Central. We have lots of great items for birthdays, baby showers, weddings, party themes, gift items, bachelorette, and so much more. Party Central. Let us be a part of your party. Visit us at www.partycentraltt.com.
Just some off-air banter there. Good morning and welcome back to the CNC3 early morning program. And of course, I'm Jassy Merrick sitting in for the Spotlight segment. It's a big week, a big day at the Olympics for Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, as you know, 2 relay medals, 2 relay teams in contention for medals this afternoon. Our 4x400 meters men and as well as our 4x100 meters women, of course. It's been a bumper week, as I just stated, for Trinidad and Tobago. We earned our first medal of these games, a bronze to Lalonde Gordon in the 400-meter race. Of course, a personal best for him as well, and really and truly representing Trinidad and Tobago quite well. This morning, it's no-brainer that we stick in with that trend. Of course, we're discussing the Olympics, Trinidad and Tobago's performances thus far, and what hangs in the balance between today and tomorrow, the remainder of the games. Joining me on set this morning, Sean Roach, who's an athletes manager, actually manages several of the athletes out there in the London including Kishon Walcott, our javelin hopeful who throws tomorrow in the javelin final, the men's javelin final, as well as Michel Liai, Michael Thomas, and a couple other athletes. Good morning, Sean, and welcome.
Hi, morning, Jesse.
Sean, as we were just stating off air, you know, it's really been captivating stuff at the Olympics this year for Trinidad and Tobago. Just one medal thus far, but really and truly encouraging performances throughout. You might agree?
Yes, I totally agree. You know, one of the exciting things about this Olympics is that we have a very young team, you know, and to see such, you know, great performances by these guys, you know, only indicates, you know, what's going to happen for, you know, future World Games and Olympics to come.
Just to put that into context, because I think with the fact that just this week in particular and coming towards the end of last week, we were in so many finals, so many contenders for medals, but just falling short. Just put into context what this means for Trinidad and Tobago. As you mentioned, a very young team. Most of these athletes are in their first ever Olympic Games, and really truly just getting that experience so that 2016 should be a bit more fruitful for us.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, for example, Kishon, you know, making the finals at 19 years old, you know, and coming up with amongst these guys are 35. I mean, I was looking at some ages here, 30, you know, and he actually beat one of the guys that was a last world champion, you know, and it just shows that it's very promising, you know. Seymour Hackett, you know, she made the finals in the 200. Seymour is 22 years old. You know, and 4 years from now, she'll be 26, she'll be a seasoned athlete, you know, she'll be ready to go and get that medal for us.
So no reason for the Trinidad and Tobago public at all to be disheartened or disappointed?
No. We had some very, very great performances by these guys. These guys put out their all. We have to understand that, you know, only 0.001% of the athletes in the world ever make it to that stage. And I mean, to see our guys go out there and reach the finals, that's even a great achievement.
A strong team we sent, even as young as they are, a contingent of just about 25 or 26 athletes, really representing quite well. What does that as well mean? It's our biggest ever contingent to the Games. What does that mean for our development over the years and in the years to come?
Well, you know, one of the things that I really appreciate about sending such a big team is giving those guys exposure. You know, you want to expose them at a young age on that stage and let them see what it takes, you know, because when they see that, you know, the next 4 years, you know, they're going to be there training and giving it their all, you know, for Brazil. You know, I mean, a lot of them are already talking, Brazil, I'm going to be on that podium. Brazil, I'm going to be on that podium. Brazil, I'm going to get that medal, you know, and it's because of that exposure.
It's interesting that you should mention that one athlete in sailing, Andrew Lewis, he came back from the Games yesterday, spent a couple hours in Trinidad and is off on holiday again. And he was, in an interview with us, he was mentioning that the atmosphere there could be so distracting for a young athlete in particular. You go around, you walk around the village, you're seeing all these big names of athletics, of sailing, or whatever sport you participate in. It's so easy to be distracted. But by 2016, our athletes will be well accustomed to that with this experience, and of course, hopefully going on to perform in international meets in the 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, let me break it down even to the Crew of the Games. When you had Michelle first year at the Crew of the Games, she came last. She came 8th, she went into that final and, you know, all bones shaking and everything. And for the other Crew of the Games, she was unbeatable. You know, she did her time, she got accustomed, she went in there with a goal, and, you know, she's still on that podium for the next 4 years.
And let's talk a bit about some of the athletes that you manage personally. Of course, you would be in contact with them throughout these games. Michael Thomas would have perhaps been disappointed not to go through in the men's 110-meter hurdles. Let's talk about some of the feedback you've been having. For instance, let's start with Michael.
Well, I mean, Michael didn't go through. I mean, I really thought that he would have gone at least to the semis, and that didn't happen. But again, you know, Michael had a rough year. You know, he had some injuries that he had to succumb to, and you know, we spent a lot of time trying to work on those stuff. But again, he had a rough year. You know, so I can't take anything down from him. He will start. You know, we have Kishon. Kishon, I mean, have achieved every single goal that we have set so far for the year, and it's still in the mix. You know, we had goals. The first goal was to become #1 in the world in the juniors. He got that in April. The next goal we had was to win World Juniors. I mean, all these goals were set in January. He achieved that goal. The next goal was to at least make it to the finals in the Olympics. He has already achieved that goal. And then now there's a new goal that he told his mom that he wants to come in the top 8.
Wow. I was just about to ask you, will we be too hard on Kishon to expect him to medal at these games?
Yes.
As well, a very exciting prospect for women's sprinting. And of course, she'll be running later on today in the women's 4x100 final.
Yeah.
Every time I mention, I follow her on Twitter, and I mentioned to her that every time the camera comes to her, she just seems to be so carefree, just enjoying this experience. Of course, it's not totally about outshining the Shelley Ann Frasers of the world, but you know, just enjoying the experience and getting that knowledge of how the Olympics work. What has she been saying to you in her downtime?
Well, I mean, Michelle is really enjoying the experience. I mean, our goal, as I told those guys, you know, you're going up there to learn. You know, you're going up there to learn. I don't want you there too tense. I don't want you there too nervous. You know, you're going up there to learn, because Brazil time, I mean, it's all about business. We have to bring home some medals for our guys. You know. So one of the things I've been telling Michelle, you know, is that, you know, this relay this evening is business. It's business. I mean, I've spoken to most of the girls I spoke to Seymour last night. I mean, this relay is business. I mean, we are going out there to get a medal. You know, that's what they went out there for. I mean, yes, they did the individual events, they got the experience, but it was all about this relay this evening. Now, as you mentioned, this relay, of course, we're going for a medal. We ran second. You know, last year, that particular time, you know, 42-31 would have been a bronze medal. You know, so I don't see them not getting the medal once if they do the
Now,
right
of course, let's talk a bit about the composition of this team. Again, I don't want to seem as though I'm harping on the fact that these girls and our time contingent is so young. But the composition of this team, you have Kellyanne Batiste, who's really one of the best in the world, 6th in the individual women's 100. Leading these young girls who it's so easy to be overwhelmed by the occasion. Let's talk a bit about there by Dion Lendor to bring Trinidad and Tobago back, perhaps not from the dead, but you know, getting them perhaps a good lead in the final.
I call them my powerhouse guys, you know. You know, they've been there and they know what they have to do, you know. So coming together is just to say, okay, this is the four. Okay, we know each other. Let's do a little battle exchanges. Let's just talk about who is better at which leg, who is good at going behind somebody and hunting them down like Ade, you know, and let's pick our legs wisely and let's go out for this.
Okay, so definitely 2 medals should be up for grabs later on today. The women's 4x100, the men's 4x400, and of course the men's 4x1 go into action as well. Just giving the Usain Bolts and Johan Blakes a bit of time to rest themselves before they get into competition again today. Again, Trinidad and Tobago will stand a good chance of getting to that final and to the medal podium again. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll discuss that aspect, the men's 4x100. Stay with us.
Relive fond memories of the Treehouse at Driftwood Restaurant and Boothside Bar, located at Tradewinds Hotel, San Fernando. Enjoy small buffet breakfast, a la carte lunch and dinner served daily. Sunday buffet breakfast. Wednesday, 2 meats poolside barbecue with live pan. Friday night entertainment. And Saturday nights, order our lobster dinner at half price. Dine outdoors, poolside, or enjoy AC dining indoors. Your wish is our command. Come and enjoy great ambience and have a good time. For reservations, call 376-0907 or 290-1305 through 8.
My brother Freddie, he's an actor and a model. And my brother Adam, he works with architects, importing stone and marble from Italy. I like to work hard, play rough. Freddie, on the other hand, he likes to play it smooth. Freddie orders some mini skinny latte. No milk, no sugar, no this, no that. My brother just drinks espresso.
Freddie loves all the attention he can get. For me, being on my own, it's wonderful too.
To be honest, you'll never find me and Fred driving the same car. Steak? Again. Sushi.
Ray, we now leaving here and we're real hungry.
Food?
So food ready?
Hand jack.
But like my baby spent whole day cooking, now that's a table to be proud of.
And only the best for my baby. Rainbow corned beef, darling. Rainbow corned beef.
Hi, I'm Marcel, and thanks to Nirvana Weight Loss Clinic, I lost 69 pounds 3 years ago. Now I'm brimming with energy, glowing with radiance and self-confidence, and life has a brand new meaning, and I still enjoy my new body image. Thanks, Nirvana.
Superb Caterers. The name says it all. We are TNT's #1 choice for catering of all events, serving TNT for almost 20 years. We cater events from 10 to 4,000 persons and guarantee prompt, reliable, friendly and efficient service, whatever the time, place or event. Call 653-1896. That's 653-1896. Superb Caterers. We are superb.
Located at number 8 Forest Avenue, Coquet Village, San Fernando, Comfort Cooling is the ideal choice for all your residential and commercial air conditioning needs.
York International is proud to announce that Comfort Cooling is our authorized dealer for all mini splits manufactured by York. We are confident that Comfort Cooling has the qualified engineers and technicians to do the design and installation of our units.
So, give us a call at 652-6378.
Get ready for back to school at Payless, where you're sure to find unbelievable savings. And we measure your kids' feet for the right fit. So come on in for back to school shoes starting at $80. More styles, more savings, only at Payless.
Good morning and welcome back to the early morning show. And of course, we're talking sport in our Spotlight segment this morning. And who can get away really and truly from the Olympic Games? It's the talk of the town. Trinidad and Tobago's athletes have been doing fantastically well, representing the red, white and black to the fullest. And of course, really and truly making the whole citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago very proud. Today, 2 medals on offer in the men's 4x400 meter relay, as well as the women's 4x100 meter relay. And of course, on set with me, Sean Roach, who is an athlete manager and manages several of our athletes who are representing Trinidad and Tobago out in London. Sean, just before the break, we were just dissecting our chances of medaling today in the 2 relays on offer. But of course, the men's 4x1 also gets going today. Trinidad and Tobago have it all to do against the mighty Jamaicans. USA would be hoping to try and get some credibility back to their name as a sprinting nation, having been decimated by Jamaica in recent years. Where does Trinidad and Tobago stand in the order now, heading into this event?
Well, Trinidad right now will be in the top 3. I mean they're ranked in the top 3. The key element about the 4x1 men, is again getting that battle wrong. And we have seen, a lot of times on the world stage where the US have dropped the battle, and even last year in the Worlds we saw our Trinidadian guys had a little fall, a little accident, So the key idea wrong is just getting that battle wrong. But our guys are in shape. We saw Richard Thompson, running a brilliant last leg in the last meet he ran in England for the 4x1. Bledman is top shape. Mark Burns just dropped a 10 flat. So Cirilio 10:03 PB. You know, so our guys are in pretty good shape. It's just getting that battle around now.
Of course, we cannot forget that we are reigning silver medalists in this event as
yes,
well.
Correct.
And the world must not forget. It should be a stamping our authority from round one. Just tell me a bit about. Of course, we've seen the composition of that team change just slightly in the last couple of years. No Emmanuel Callender this time around. I believe he's just a reserve. Randall Cirillo expected to fill one of those legs. You know, how has he adapted to running in this 4x1 relay team?
Well, I mean, Rondell is a professional athlete. You know, he has been on the circuit already. So I mean, he has been in the collegiate circuit as well. You know, so I don't think it will be that difficult for him to fill it. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm hoping that, you know, at least in one of the rounds, you know, Kalinda gets a chance to run, so we rest a leg as well. You know, because, I mean, he has the experience and his speed is up there as well.
Let's talk a bit about some of the other teams that would be in contention for a medal. Of course, we have the Great Britain team at home. They will be no doubt hoping to do their best. Dwayne Chambers is back in the offing. He will be hoping to prove something as well, having failed in the individual event. We have the Jamaicans, of course, flying high. Not much needed to be said about them. And the Americans. What would that competition, that pressure to perform be like? Not only on these teams, but resulting how would Trinidad and Tobago fare?
Our guys, just like I said, you know, with the girls, you know, we have a young team. With the guys, you know, these guys are experienced. You know, Bledman is on the circuit, Mark Burns is on the circuit, Richards is on the circuit, Cirillo is on the circuit, Callender is on the circuit. These guys see these guys every day. You know, I don't think they have that fear. You know, basically their fear is everybody putting out their best and getting that battle around.
Right.
You know, they've been there before. We have a medal. You know, it's not like the other teams where they now go in to get their medal.
Right.
We have a medal.
We have one.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Sean, during the break we were discussing a bit about how do we sustain this emotional wave as well as this whole enthusiasm to sport, particularly athletics, for the next 4 years. It may be a bit worrying as to where we stand in terms of our structure, administration, and so on, to really capitalize on what these athletes have been able to do out there in London. How do we now ensure that these upcoming 4 years, is utilized and maximized?
Well, you know, one of these things that I've noticed over the past years is that the pool of athletes that we have to pick from has been reduced. You know, and it's been reducing every year. You know, so we need to regenerate that. You know, so we need to put in a proper structure where we can, you know, go into the rural areas and scout and really promote athletics and get back these numbers, get these numbers up again. So we have a larger pool to shop from, as I would say. You know, in terms of our coaches, you know, we need to educate our coaches, get more of our coaches to level 5. You know, and when we get them to level 5, don't just have them there stagnant, but put in incentives so that, you know, that they are forced to perform.
Right.
You know, and when they perform, that they're rewarded. You know, anybody likes to be rewarded. You know, and we need to put that structure in place. You know, we already have a structure in place for our athletes in terms of the elite funding program. You know, when our athletes, you know, is doing well, you know, they get funded help from the ministry, you know, to even get better. But, you know, aside from that, you know, I think that we need to put in even proper structure and programs that when these 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds get these funding, that they know how to use it wisely, you know, and they know it's for their personal development in sport and not other stuff. I wouldn't like to go into. In terms of our primary school, you know, and our secondary school, you know, a lot of our sports and teachers, they have the PE degrees, you know, now coming out. I know we need to, again, educate them, get them to level 1 IFF, like get them to level 2 IFF. You know, if we really want to have good athletes, you know, we need to have educated teachers teaching them, you know.
This increase or improvement in performance from our athletes this time around is something that we're not accustomed to. So many athletes being able to get past the first round, into the second round, into the finals of their various events. It's something that we've not seen for quite some time. Does it make it now ensuring that this improves even further in 2016, does the fact that our athletes, most of them, train outside of Trinidad and Tobago, does that make things harder for us? Whereas, for instance, you see the Jamaicans, they're largely based at home. Does our situation make things harder to really and truly ensure that all our athletes are on one page and ready to perform in 2016?
No. I mean, in Jamaica, I mean, they have a couple of athletes, Veronica Campbell, that train outside of Jamaica. And I mean, it's a good thing, because it gives us the international experience as well. We get to learn a little bit about how things are done in the U.S. And one of the things is knowledge. We need to capitalize on that. We need to find out what's being done right up there, right? And let us implement that down here. Once if it could fit in with our culture and the way how we do things. Another thing is better utilization of our national heroes. We have Hasty Crawford, we have Otto Boland, we have Richard Thompson. We have so much heroes. Let's put some kind of structure where they go into the schools and they excite these kids about wanting to come back into sport and to participate. Show them that sport could be a way of life as well.
Is that word that you use, the excite the kids, and I want to extend it to the population. That's exactly what our athletes have been doing in London 2012, and I just want to pretty much just stay on that point a bit longer, because this excitement, as we know in Trinidad and Tobago, we're a 24-hour society. As soon as the Olympics are over, this excitement will die. How do we possibly revive the excitement as soon as possible, or maintain it from now until whenever, so that we really and truly, our athletes are always in our minds, always in our focus. We ensure that they continue to perform. We ensure that they as well, that we support them throughout. How do we go about achieving that?
And I'll say it again, utilization of our national heroes. For example, our men's 4x1 silver medalists. I remember when they came back from the Olympics, there was a big caravan. There was a bus going through all over Trinidad and Tobago, and they're waving, and people are in the streets, and they're waving, and they're waving, and they're waving. And then after that, we haven't seen them. We haven't seen nothing about them again. We need to bring them, month after month, every so often, and do programs with them with the public, so the public, knows that we still have these guys around, and they support them.
Beautiful, beautiful. There you have it, the words of Sean Roche, an athletes manager. He's saying that we should use our stars more wisely and really bring them a bit closer to the public to ensure that this excitement, this wave of excitement and national pride continues for some time to come. Of course, that brings us to the end of our show this morning and the end of our Spotlight segment. On behalf of Himaram Kisoon, Ria Rambly, who's out in our newsroom this morning, and of course our entire studio staff, I'd like to thank you for joining us. Do stay with CNC3. If I may just quickly plug our under-20 footballers, they are out there in St. Vincent on the qualifying campaign, and of course they beat Guyana 2-1 the other night. They play Suriname this evening. So keep your ears on the ground for some results from that match as well. Of course, CNC3 will do our best to keep you updated. Again, thank you for joining us, and do have a safe and productive weekend.